The 2 terabyte SSD in a consumer laptop costs roughly $80. The 400 gigabyte SSD in an enterprise server costs roughly $400. The enterprise drive has 5 times the cost for one-fifth the capacity. That's a 25 to 1 cost per gigabyte premium. Both drives use the same 3D NAND flash technology. Both come from the same fabs. The cells inside them are physically identical. The difference is entirely in how many bits those cells are asked to store. The consumer drive uses QLC, 4 bits per cell. The enterprise drive uses MLC or SLC, 1 to 2 bits per cell. Same physical transistor, completely different product performance and reliability. The figure on the screen shows the entire trade-off in one visual. Each panel shows the threshold voltage distributions for one cell type. The x-axis is the threshold voltage. The peaks are the voltage levels where cells are programmed to sit. The width of each peak is the sigma in the distribution. SLC at the top, you have two distributions, enormous spacing between them. Narrow peaks. Reading an SLC is easy. The sense amp has to distinguish between the threshold voltage near minus 1.5 volts and one near 4.5. 6 volts of separation, you can't miss that. Now QLC at the bottom, 16 distributions crammed into the same window. The spacing between adjacent peaks is roughly 300 to 400 millivolts. Each distribution has a sigma of around 100 millivolts. The tails of adjacent distributions are very nearly touching each other in a fresh cell. The sense amp has to distinguish between 16 voltage levels with about 300 millivolts of margin. That compression is not a manufacturing defect. It's a design choice. And it's a choice that explains both why your consumer SSD costs $80 and why it has a 5-year warranty instead of a 20-year warranty. Now, the raw bit error rate, the probability that a single cell is read as the wrong state, is not proportional to the level spacing. It's exponential in it. This is one of those cases where the math is genuinely more unforgiving than your intuition suggests. Here's the physical picture. Each threshold voltage distribution is approximately Gaussian. When you read a cell, you compare its threshold voltage against a reference voltage placed between two adjacent distributions. A cell produces an error if its threshold voltage has drifted past that reference into a territory of the adjacent state. The probability of that happening is proportional to the area of the Gaussian tail beyond the reference. And the area of the Gaussian trail drops exponentially with distance from the mean measured in units of sigma. Now the curve here shows a raw bit error rate on a logarithmic scale as a function of the level spacing measured in units of sigma, the sensing margin ratio. So when the spacing is 5 sigma, the RBER is around 10 to the minus 9. That's roughly 1 bit error per billion cell reads. Excellent. You can run a flash array with an error rate for years without errors reaching the host. The dots show where each cell type typically operates. SLC sits at roughly 5 sigma, the top left of the curve, low error rate. MLC is at 3.5 sigma, TLC at about 2.3 sigma, and QLC at roughly 1.5 sigma. Now at 1.5 sigma, the RBER is around 10 to the minus 3. 1 bit error per 1000 reads. That is completely unusable for storing data without correction. A 1 terabyte QLC drive contains roughly 8 trillion bits. A 1 in 1000 raw error rate, you'd have 8 billion raw errors across the drive from the first read. Every read, you'll be reading 8 billion corrupted bits every time you access the drive. And yet, QLC drives ship, work, and carry 5-year warranties. The entire explanation for how that's possible is the error correction system in the controller, which we'll get to. But before we get there, there is a second failure mode that compounds the problem over time. Now, every program erase cycle permanently damages the tunnel oxide. Electrons driven through the oxide under high field generate interface traps at the oxide silicon boundary, and embed fixed charges in the bulk oxide. These defects don't anneal at room temperature. They accumulate with every cycle. The effect on the threshold voltage distribution is direct. More defects means more random cell to cell variation in threshold voltage, which means a wider distribution sigma. The sigma doesn't increase linearly with cycle count. It grows roughly as the square root of cycle count, which is characteristic of random defect generation process with diminishing returns. The left panel shows sigma in millivolts as a function of the program array's cycles. All three cell types generate defects at the same rate. It's the same oxide physics regardless of how many bits you're storing in the cell. The three horizontal dashed lines show the sigma limit for each cell type. QLC hits its sigma limit at around 1000 cycles. The initial margin is so thin, 300 millivolts of spacing with 100 millivolts of sigma, that even modest sigma growth from oxide damage is enough to push the distributions into overlap. SLC with 2.5 volts of initial spacing and the same sigma growth rate doesn't hit its limits until roughly 100,000 cycles. The same physical oxide, the same defect generation rate, 100 times more endurance, entirely because the initial margins absorb 100 times more damage before failing. The right panel summarizes the practical endurance numbers across cell types. 100,000 cycles for SLC, 10,000 for MLC, 3,000 for TLC, and 1,000 for QLC. Each step is roughly a factor of 3 to 10 reduction in endurance for one additional bit per cell. That is why industrial and automotive applications use SLC exclusively. A car's control unit might need to survive 15 years and over a million write cycles to flash memory. QLC would exhaust its endurance budget before the vehicle's first oil change. Now, the job of the flash controller's error correction system is to take a medium with a raw bit error rate of 1 in 1000 and deliver data to the host with an effective error rate of less than 1 in 10 to the 15th power. That's 12 orders of magnitude of error correction gain. To put that in perspective, if you had a room full of quadrillion coins and flipped them all, you'd expect about half a billion heads. The actual distribution would vary from that by a few standard deviations. The storage system is promising to deliver data that differs from perfect by less than a single bit error across all those coin flips. That's the level of correction the ECC system is doing, starting from a medium that fails one read in every 1000. The figure shows the correction chain. At the left is the raw QLC cell with RBER around 1000. The first stage is hard decision LPDC, a low density parity check code operating on hard bit decisions. This buys roughly 5 orders of magnitude of correction, bringing RBER down to around 1 in 10 to the 8th. Still not enough. The second stage applies soft decision decoding. Instead of making a hard 0 or 1 decision for each bit, the read circuit measures the actual threshold voltage and passes a reliability estimate called a log likelihood ratio to the decoder. The decoder uses the analog voltage information to make better decisions about cells near the boundary between adjacent states. Soft decision decoding typically buys another 2 to 3 dB of coding gain over hard decision, which translates to another few orders of magnitude of error correction. The same stage includes read retry. When a page initially fails to decode, the controller applies a slightly different set of read voltage thresholds and tries again. Different threshold offsets expose different cells as marginal, and in many cases, the second attempt succeeds when the first failed. The bottom annotation in the figure shows the total correction distance, 12 orders of magnitude from raw QLC to system output. The ECC engine in a modern QLC SSD controller is running continuously at data rates comparable to the host interface. It adds latency, that's the unavoidable cost, and it consumes power. A consumer QLC drive has meaningfully higher read latency than the TLC drive from the same vendor at the same process node. Now, the radar chart on screen shows 5 dimensions of flash performance for 3 cell types simultaneously. Read it as a shape. A larger area covers means better overall performance. No cell type covers the full pentagon. SLC has excellent endurance. It's near the maximum on that axis. It has good read latency. It has decent write latency. What it lacks is density and cost efficiency. The SLC shape is strong on the reliability axis and weak on the density axis. That's exactly the right shape for a device that needs to survive a decade in an automobile or an industrial control system. QLC has excellent density and cost efficiency. It's at the maximum on those two axes. But look at endurance. It's near the minimum. Read latency is mediocre. Write latency is poor. The QLC shape is strong on density and weak on everything that reliability requires. TLC sits in between, not optimal on any single axis, but competitive on most of them. That balance is why TLC dominates the smartphone market, where density per millimeter squared matters, but the device is replaced every 2 years, so endurance isn't a hard constraint. There's an additional complication for write heavy workloads that radar chart doesn't fully capture. Multi-level programming is inherently incremental. The cell is programmed, verified against the target threshold, slightly adjusted, verified again, repeated until the threshold is within the target window. For QLC with 16 levels and 300 millivolt windows, this verify and adjust loop may require 8 to 12 passes per cell. The programming latency for a QLC page is 1 to 2 milliseconds. For SLC, it's 3 to 5 microseconds. That's a factor of 200 to 500 in write latency. And write latency determines how quickly the SLC cache fills and how long the drive spends in the degraded performance state when the cache is exhausted. The table on the screen is the engineering output of everything you've seen in this video. 6 rows, one for each major application segment. 5 columns, application, cell type used, the key engineering driver, typical endurance, and a note on how the trade-off is managed in practice. Consumer SSDs use TLC or QLC because the purchase decision is dominated by cost per terabyte. The buyer comparison, shopping on a retail website sees a number in dollars per gigabyte. The SLC cache in a consumer QLC drive handles the burst write performance well enough for home use workloads, where large sequential writes are rare. Enterprise write intensive storage uses MLC or SLC, not because the engineers don't know QLC exists, but because the write endurance specification for a database transaction log or a write intensive cache tier cannot be met by TLC at any controller sophistication level. The endurance requirement flows directly from the application, and the application doesn't negotiate. Industrial and automotive applications use SLC exclusively. AEC Q100 automotive qualification requires operation around minus 40 to 125 degrees Celsius junction temperature, and the temperature range alone broadens the threshold voltage distributions enough to consume a significant fraction of the TLC's sensing margin. Add a 15-year product life and a requirement for 100,000 write cycles, and QLC isn't a consideration. It's excluded by physics before it enters the cost analysis. The pattern across every row is the same. Identify the most constraining requirement in the endurance, latency, reliability space, and select the cell type that satisfied it at an acceptable cost. That's not a heuristic. It's the application of the physics you've been building throughout this arc. Now, every number in that table, the endurance limits, the RBER targets, the latency specifications, flows from the threshold voltage window physics and the distribution sigma growth model that this video introduced. ArcC's remaining videos derive those numbers from first principles. By the end of the arc, you'll be able to sit down with a reliability specification and a cell characterization dataset and work backward to the correct cell type, ECC strength, over provisioning ratio, and a wear leveling strategy for that specific application, not by convention, but by calculation.